Welcome to The Business Behind Your Business, the podcast where we delve into the financial strategies and insights that drive success for small and medium-sized business owners. I'm your host, Paul Sweeney, and in each episode we bring you expert guests who share practical advice, real-world experiences, and actionable tips to empower you on your business journey. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, get ready to uncover the secrets to success and gain valuable insights into the business behind your business. So marketing for business owners often feels random. They might be trying a few things. Nothing sticks. It becomes another job you do. It becomes frustrating and uses up a lot of your time. Well, today we're going to change that. We're going to assess how we make marketing simpler by focusing on the principles, and then also how, by publishing, and particularly by publishing a book, you can build your authority and systemize that so that it actually happens and you have that credibility of and trustworthiness in your market. So by the end of this episode, you will have a practical way to apply some of the core marketing principles without needing a big budget. You'll have some clarity on how publishing, and particularly publishing a book, can increase your authority and credibility and when it's worth doing and doing well. And we'll also give you a simple system for consistent marketing so that you're not starting from scratch every month. Really thrilled today because I'm joined by Kae Wagner, who's the founder of the Bold Authors Network and a leader at North Star Marketing, where she helps people build visibility and credibility through strategic publishing and promotion. And look, Kae has run some brilliant programs with authors, and there's a great crossover between her passion for helping authors and her passion for business. And we're going to unpack that a bit more. Kae, welcome to the Business Behind Your Business podcast.
Thank you, Paul. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. Look, it's something that's really exciting for me because marketing is a huge frustration for a lot of small, medium business owners. They hear what they should be doing, but they're getting a very piecemeal approach to it. They'll try something, it won't work, they'll get frustrated, and they'll throw the baby out with the bathwater. But I think what we're missing here is really a true understanding of what we're trying to achieve, the core principles here. And it's something that you're very passionate about, and you've worked extensively with businesses and some quite high-profile businesses, but you're also coming from the other side where you're a passionate author and you're helping people to write and publish their own books, capturing some of that experience that they've got through operating their businesses. So, your background, you've started, I think, in business and then moved into marketing. Why the transfer?
Well, so there are three things that I love that I now have mixed together, which is business, marketing, and authorship, right? The author's journey. And so business and marketing, you can't really separate them, right? I mean, because if you're a business and you're not marketing, then you have really crawled under a rock because the competition is going to take your lunch. They're going to eat you for lunch if you're not marketing, right? So we know that marketing is one of the basic foundations of strong businesses. And for example, Hershey chocolates. So do you know Hershey chocolates, Paul?
Oh, yeah, I do know Hershey chocolates. I'm a big chocolate lover, so I'm very familiar with chocolate from all around the world, yes.
Okay, so Hershey Kisses, are famous worldwide, right? And I am in Florida, and sometimes I go to vacation back home in Pennsylvania, where I have a house pretty close to Hershey Kisses, to where they make Hershey Kisses. Hershey was founded by Milton Hershey, and they had a success from the beginning because, like you, everybody loves chocolate. But their business leveled out. And after they were in business, I want to say a decade or maybe 2 decades, someone brought the idea to Milton Hershey that he should be advertising his chocolates and that would be the ticket to his success. And he fought that idea for a while because shouldn't the quality of his chocolate kisses really tell the story, right? Shouldn't that be enough? Well, no, it wasn't, because marketing was hitting the mainstream consumer products, and he needed to join in, and he did. And as a result, he began to take market share in country after country after country. And now we know Hershey Kisses around the world. So that is the sweet story of marketing, right? But marketing has principles that business owners often don't know because many of them have not come up through the marketing channel. We know that business owners are good salesmen generally. They have a unique idea and they want to sell it to the world. But sales and marketing are two different things. And many business owners don't realize that they lump that together and they think sales and marketing is one thing. But the principles of marketing will show you that it is a different path than the sales path. Now, they are friendly, right? Sales and marketing. They live in the same department, but they are not the same function.
That's important to get that distinction there. And I think the other distinction that you mentioned in that example with Hershey's is that a lot of business owners think, I've got a quality product, I'm great at what I do, I don't need to go and tell people, they'll just come to me.
Right.
My quality will speak for itself. But as you said, that's not the case, and we need to understand it. But I think one of the first things you've mentioned is sales and marketing. We often say them in the same sentence, but they're not the same
Right.
function.
Correct. And what I find also, Paul, is that authors have that same blind spot that they think if they write a really good book, the world is going to be the path to their door and just people will find their book and they'll be bestsellers, right? Because it's a great book. So it's the same mindset that because I have a quality product, because I have a quality book, I don't have to market there. That word of mouth is going to be enough, right? And not to be dismissive about word of mouth, because you do need good word of mouth and quality products do produce good word of mouth. But in today's crazy, noisy market, you cannot shout loud enough with just word of mouth, right? You have to be much more strategic than that. And in marketing, we look for strategy. We look for, in marketing, we talk about the 5 Ps, which are people, product, price, placement. And now I forgot the 5th one, of course. But we need to have strategies about these important areas of our business. And it can't be just to sell, a quality product at a low price. That, okay, so you have a couple of options. You can sell a luxury product, you can sell a mid-tier product, you can sell a discount product. So in America, who has the discount retailer slot? That position goes to Walmart, right? And so we look at that as a strategy. Low price can be a strategy, but what happens when you have a low price strategy? Low margins. And how did Walmart become successful? Through technology and systems, right? So we see that, well, and they continue to do a lot of marketing too. Remember when Sam Walton used to dance with, every morning he would gather all the troops together and he would dance with the people in Walmart, and that got broadcast like literally around the world. And those kinds of things are part of marketing, right? It's spreading the word, telling the story, advertising, continuing day after day after day to show up in front of the people that you want to come and buy things from you. At its core, marketing is like tell your story, tell it well, tell it every single day, tell it in front of the right audience, and you're going to be successful.
So what you're mentioning there is some principles, and I think most small business owners, most medium-sized business owners that I talk to completely miss this. They jump straight into a tactic. They just jump straight into, I've got to be on Facebook marketing, or I need to be I am in print, or I need to be at this event. But we need to, I think that the tactics, when we jump straight in, we're just going to miss, because we could be spending a lot of time and effort to the wrong kind of person that's never going to be our customer.
Right. Yes. And when people jump right into a tactic, they're almost doomed for failure because they're going in with like, well, that guy did it, so it should work for me. But tactics work differently for different people, for different markets, for different products, you know? And so you have to have that strategic positioning before you ever start the tactics, or you're going to be out there, you know, flailing about, not knowing what you're doing. And then, worst of all, you're going to say, well, that one didn't work. That tactic didn't work. And you didn't really have a strategy for it. You didn't give it enough time. You didn't give it enough money. And you bailed out, but you're going to blame the tactic. That's what business owners do a lot. And so then somebody comes in and says, oh, you know, we should try this. And they're like, oh, we tried that years ago. It didn't work. We're never doing that again. Where what really failed was not the tactic, but was the lack of a strategy.
So if strategy is such the key thing, why do you think that so many business owners get this piece wrong?
I think it's because business owners in general tend to be very action oriented. And so they want to get to the action, right? And strategy is a long game. When you set a strategy, you're thinking about 2 years to run this strategy, 4 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years. In today's market with AI changing things like every day, right? It might be a shorter time frame. You know, one of the strategies is people, the P for people. And yet in today's market with AI taking over jobs and everything, it's really hard to know what that strategy is going to be in the long term. So I just use that as an example of strategies change over time. And as you develop a strategy, you're looking at the long term. And most business owners are like, what did we sell today? You know, what did we sell today? And what are we going to sell tomorrow? And how are we going to make our numbers next month or this quarter? And so that's the short-term thinking that a lot of business owners have. And they may not have been educated or schooled in marketing as such. They might understand the philosophies of sales and how to be a good salesperson, but the marketing, which is different, requires a little more education. And strategy really requires, I would say, a different set of skills to develop a strategy.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, talking about the short-term thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, we're so focused on actions and to-do lists and ticking off. We've done this, we've achieved, we're great, we're fantastic. Let's keep doing and plow through that to-do list. And we want the immediate results to validate that we've done the right thing.
Right.
But your marketing is a long term. I think so often we're so short-term focused, and we're changing from one idea to the next, or one tactic to the next very quickly, but we're not giving ourselves that long-term vision about being, I guess, very clear about who we are and who we're selling to, or who we want to be our clients, who do we want to be our customers. We've lost that clarity, and I think that's one of the things that you're very good at focusing on is how we actually get clarity.
Right. Yeah. And so you need clarity not only in understanding the principles of marketing, but then how do you put them into action? How do you make the actions that you take give you sustainable growth instead of, a spurt here and there, which is, we're all looking for sustainable growth, scaling in a predictable way that allows us to run a business where we can sleep at night and gives us a certain amount of freedom and gives us the opportunity to pass on wealth to our children and our grandchildren. And so we have that idea of growing our business, but when it comes to the daily work, it's like, get it done now, check it out, like you said, check it, check the boxes, and being action oriented over what we can control. So when we get into marketing, there are a lot of market forces that are not in our control. And so small, business owners bump up against that as well. And business owners, I am one, you are one. So we know that business owners like control, right? And so if they can't control it, maybe they want to move on to the next thing.
Yeah, we tend to be control freaks, so the middle aged male in me is fit very much like that. We like to be control, and if something is
Yes.
not in our control, then we're sort of, I guess, we become adversarial against it. It's not for us, or we want to move on and just
Right.
stay
Right.
with what we're focused on. Which sort of goes to, I guess, being very clear about the actions we're going to take, and
Yes.
what can we control. And I think one of the things that we can control is how we position ourselves, that people see us and our product. How do we achieve that level? How do we position ourselves so that potential clients, potential customers trust that we are actually who we say we are and can deliver on the promises that we're saying?
Right. So that is such a good question, because when I talk about marketing, a lot of people think that marketing, advertising, and sales are all kind of lumped together and they're the same thing, right? But then we bring in branding. And so I have a marketing pyramid that shows people, and I'll just describe it to you clearly. The foundation is marketing. That's where strategy is. That's where positioning and differentiation is. Then on top of that, you build branding. And branding is like your face to the world, your product's face to the world, your company's face to the world. And the most important thing about branding is not that you have the prettiest colors or the most fabulous logo. But the most important thing is that your message is clear and that it is consistent and that everything is congruent and consistent in what you do. That's what a good brand is, right? If I see it here and I see it there and I see it over there, it's all congruent. It all hangs together. Then from branding, we build into advertising, right? This is where we broadcast our message to the world. And finally, on top of that pyramid, we have sales. And sales is, what did we sell today, this quarter, this half of the year, this year, etc. So business owners should ask themselves this. If we are having trouble at the top of the pyramid with sales, is it perhaps because we didn't build a strong foundation? And that is the strategy. That is the positioning, the differentiation. That is where we determine new products, innovations. And if we don't build that strong foundation, we might always be struggling at the top with sales.
So we're looking at that. So that foundation is absolutely critical, and like any building story or example, there you've got to have your foundations correct. But I think we jump straight to the top, to the end goal, and
Yes.
think, I need more sales, I've got to get more sales. And there's no process, there's no long-term gain. There's no, we're sort of just shouting in the wind, hoping
Yes.
people will
Yes.
hear us and buy. But going back to it, that foundation and some of the key parts of that is how we build credibility, how we build authority, and
Yes.
there are different ways to do that. And I guess going back to, how do people trust us as the expert in our business? How do they trust us? I think, publishing has become more and more recognized as a way of demonstrating your authority and credibility. How has that transformed since you've been involved with marketing? Obviously, you've got a passion for it because you're a recognized author and helping people publish as well. But what was the transfer, or why? How has publishing evolved from being one part of marketing to now being, I guess, more essential for business owners to consider?
Yes. So if we look at the history in how publishing in the past has built credibility, um, people labored over books and then sent out letters and a manuscript to publishers. and got tons of rejection letters until they finally got one acceptance letter, got published, and had a bestseller, right? It was a long, arduous, really difficult, often difficult process, right? But people prevailed. And then we had KDP enter the market. KDP is Amazon's publishing arm, Kindle digital publishing. And suddenly, not suddenly, but, over time, publishing became available to everyone. Now accelerated by the fact that AI can write your book. And now not only can KDP publish for everyone, but AI can write for everyone. Now, we talked about quality, right? So quality books are important, just like quality products are important. And so we see a lot of poor quality books in the marketplace because of AI writing, what Harvard Business Review calls AI slop. I wouldn't be quite that dismissive of it, but that's the term that they coined for it. So we see this huge wave of publishing, of AI writing, and then KDP publishing. And the authority that a book has is still very, very strong. The credibility that a book gives you is still very, very strong because it is still not an easy process. Even though KDP with technology made publishing easier, and AI with AI writing makes writing easier, it is still an arduous process because we as humans still need to think. We still need to create. We are still the creators, even though AI is often very good if you know how to use it properly. But all of that will shake out. The poor quality will disappear as it does in every product line, in every category, in every industry. It will have its moment in this, under the spotlight, and then it will disappear because quality will always trump poor quality. And so I think it's really important for people to understand that the credibility comes from having the production, i.e., the book of your work, but the real authority comes from the work being good, from the work being at a level of quality that your work deserves, right? So you don't want to just slap it together and get it out. You actually want to create a quality product. It is, people often use the term, it's the business card, that you need to get in the door. And it certainly does that. And it can do much, much more than that. I recently wrote a piece titled 2026, The Year of the Human. And as we look at what is happening in the world today due to AI, to the fakery of AI images, videos, image likenesses, in the year of the human, it becomes much more important that we as business people, consultants, business owners, authors, really anyone in industry and business, I think anyone in any career, really, it's important that we understand that the more AI and technology take over our world, the more important it becomes for us to remain the authentic human beings who have the creative spirit that is unique. The creative spirit, in my opinion, comes from the divine. And so it's not quite so easily taken over by quick fix, low quality technology and AI. I believe that the creative spirit will prevail and that humans will prevail with their authenticity and their humanity, if you will.
I think that authentic part there is that very key, because if you're come across as inauthentic and look, AI slop is a fairly accepted way of talking about some of the content that's been published or put out there. publish is probably very generous. But authenticity is key because,
Yes.
people will tell very quickly. And I think we've become more and more skeptical about, is this authentic or is it just more AI slop?
Right.
Is it authentic? And if it's not authentic, then I guess that will probably damage your reputation and your brand reputation as a business if you're coming across as being inauthentic, and it will damage that marketing effort.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to tie two things together here very clearly, that is strategy and tactics in the year of the human, means that we need to show up more frequently. Our tactics need to include exactly what you're doing, which is podcasting, the human beings talking authentically, having a real conversation about real issues, right? With real solutions and problems, right? Having more of that in our marketing and in our tactical execution and less of the shiny object things. So for sustainability, we do not want to be TikTok brains, right? We want to have a long-term strategy, which then shows up in an authentic way in our tactical execution. So, I don't see this very often, Paul, which is I don't see CEOs doing podcasts, and I think they should. I also think they should read romance novels, but that's a whole different story.
That's
Because
a
I
cute.
think it would help them be a little more human.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was trying to very quickly draw the logical conclusion, or the link there. But I think certainly that humanity, as you said. And look,
Yes.
before we hit record, one of the things I mentioned to you was it's so much easier to actually interact with the real person than just read about what's going on. So that
Right.
whole idea of being human, being authentic, being present is so important. Particularly, I think we're starting to move away from the isolation and the tech and the IT, and
Right.
we're really craving that. As you mentioned, the books give you authenticity. It's also a starting point. It's replaced business cards. People are starting to use that more as a conversation starter. It's that
Right.
credibility, but it's that consistency across everything you're doing, that is key. But that human perspective, that authentic you as the marketer, as the business owner, that is absolutely critical. Look, you've mentioned that really got to go back to the principles and start at the
Yes.
beginning, get that foundation right. What would be the first step that you would tell any business owner to do if they're trying to like, I guess, grab their marketing and put it back under control and get a really solid platform?
Well, here's the thing. So, generally, CEOs and business owners need help. And so, my recommendation is to find someone or call me or email me who can help, because it's like being a fish in the water. You can't see the water when you're in it, right? It's the same thing like a CEO or a business owner. Once you have been in the business for a few years at the top, you don't really see things as clearly as you used to. I'm sorry, but that's just true. And so, what needs to happen is you need to get help from the outside, from someone who can come in and just say, okay, here's exactly what you need to look at and what you need to do, and then work with you to help you and your team figure it out. This is not somebody coming in to fix you. It's someone coming in to open the door so that you can create a healthier company, a company that's more sustainable, a company that has a great foundation. And so, wherever you are around the world, and I know you have a global audience, but I would just say, Paul, I know that you help a lot of people. I know that there are others in your area and, of course, in around the world. For people who are interested in doing this combination of business and books, right? The best thing for them to do is to go to www.boldauthorsnetwork.com and just sign up there, and they will come into our world. And then I'll reach out and we can go from there and see what works for them in building a foundation, in building a book, and building authority, credibility, and reaching, their sustainable success.
Yeah, that's great. Look, I'd really encourage our the listener, the business owner, to actually take that step and investigate and get in touch with Kae at Bold Authors Network. And we'll put the links, as always, in the show notes and also on the businessbehindyourbusiness.com website. We'll also share the link to Kae's LinkedIn profile, where you can see a lot of the great stuff that she's done and some of that thought leadership, those articles and the Year of the Human. You'll be able to see those, and make sure you follow Kae to make sure you don't miss out on some of the gems that she's been sharing, because there's some truly fabulous insights there and very helpful in terms of getting our marketing credible, authentic, and establishing authority as a business owner. Kae, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed our conversation today, and I know our listeners will have got a lot of value out of it. Thank you again, and take the plunge. Start reaching out and writing that book and capturing your authority and your credibility, and make it happen.
Thank you, Paul.
That's a wrap for this episode of The Business Behind Your Business. We hope you found today's discussion insightful and valuable for your business journey. Before we go, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favourite platform. Share it with fellow business owners who could benefit, and send in your burning questions, because we love hearing from you. Missed any of our previous episodes or looking for additional resources to help grow your business? Head over to our website at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. There you'll find our full archive of past episodes, along with show notes, transcripts, and links to valuable resources mentioned in each episode. Your journey to business success continues at thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. Until next time, stay inspired, stay informed, and keep building the business of your dreams.